on the debate tonight. And
Sure.
I just want to make one point, GD sir, as I come to you. Democracy eventually wins because you see a rattled VIP like Lalu walking out of the airport being asked questions on the story of his scam-ridden land dealings of his daughter. His own link to a mafia don is caught on tape. Democracy wins. Democracy wins because our crew stood there seeking accountability on behalf of the people of India. There are hundreds of calls live. I will go to my next caller. I'm going to have lots of calls from Chennai also coming in right now. GD Bakshi, what do you think about this? GD Bakshi, good evening, sir. You've been on our panels long enough. What do you think about what's happening today?
You know, Arnav, as a concerned Indian citizen and as a veteran, I'm shamed by the levels to which our democracy, our polity can sink. I'm shamed. It makes spectacle. It makes spectacle. It is buffoonery. One has heard of La La Land, now there is Lalu Land. And the fourth estate, the press, is one of the pillars of democracy. It needs to be preserved. It needs to be preserved. Its reputation for probity, that needs to be maintained. For quite some time back, for a few years back, we were quite depressed to see the Indian press, the Indian media, turn into a new sycophantic avatar. They were feathering their nest, they were having huge mansions, etc.
Yeah.
And, their all attacks were confined solely to the opposition.
Yeah.
There were no attacks on the ruling party, there were no attacks on the high and mighty. You always chose the soft targets and you gave them your... That is where I had found your brand of journalism a refreshing change. At least you were speaking out for the underdog. You were speaking out for national issues which merit debate and discussion, which create a sense of nationhood, which create a sense of togetherness. I am particularly depressed, I'm sorry to say, about Bihar. Bihar is where our civilization started. The Magadhan Empire. It is the seat of the Magadhan Empire. And yet today, the soldiers remember it for that one thing. Arnab, you remember that jibe? When the dead bodies of our soldiers, when the remains of our soldiers had been brought to the airport.
Yeah.
And we had a minister from the worthy state of Bihar. And one young correspondent accosted him. He asked him, "Tumhari maa gayi thi? Tumhara baap gaya tha?" These are the exact words.
Yeah. I remember
And
that.
then he came out with that famous slur of his. ये पैसे के लिए तो आते हैं.
He said that. I remember.
हम पैसे के लिए नहीं आते साहब. हम अपने देश को बचाने के लिए आए थे. अपने देश के लिए लड़ने के लिए आए थे. इस तरह की जाइब्स हमने बहुत सुन ली है. And because it is, I was actually going to politely leave because I thought the topic was different. But when I heard this, I thought I must say this piece. And Arnab, I'd like to tell you one thing. One of the invitations that I most value in my life, I received from a village in Bihar called Bhuri. Their people said, "We are ashamed of what our minister said. We want to invite you. We will get all the families of the martyrs of this region over there to honor them." I went there, Arnab, to a small village because I thought it was a duty. It was a duty. But can I ask our worthy politician friends, do you want to reduce us to a spectacle?
Answer that, Tanveer. Answer that, Sunil Chopra. Answer that.
Theater of the absurd.
Answer.